joined by Joey Logano, driver of the number 22 Team Penske Ford. If you have a question for Joey, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. We'll start here with Zach.
Zach Sterniolo, NASCAR.com. Joey, on your far left over here. Oh, yeah, way over here. Being locked in since Atlanta, I know we've talked a lot about in previous years locking yourself in that first race of the round of 8. What has locking yourself into the round of 12 in the first race of this round allowed this 22 team to do to prepare for the rest of the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it's allowed us to look a little bit forward. You guys hear me? Is this thing on? Hello? I don't think I'm on. Is there a... Hello? Oh, is that better? There we go. Sorry. Yeah, to answer your question, it's been nice to be able to think a little bit further forward than the next 2 races that were ahead of us. Not that we discount these races any, but it does give you the advantage to look a little bit ahead. Not like it does when you win in the round of 8 and you have the opportunity to look for just one race. Like, these races still matter. There's still a long ways to go in the playoffs, but it's more comfortable. I will say that. Like, you sleep a little better at night, which is nice. But next week in Kansas, we're right back to where we were. So we got to go, make sure we score points again.
We'll go next to Matt Weaver and then to Mark Garrow.
Matt Weaver, Sportsnaut. With all the conversation this week of driver code and ethics and just the state of racing with road courses, green white checkers, stuff of that nature, is this just who we are now, or is there an ebb and flow to this? Do you want to see NASCAR step in? Do you want to see the drivers get together and fix this? Like, what happens now that everyone agrees we might have a problem?
Matt, I don't really know. I mean, I think we know where the line is. We saw that a few weeks ago in Richmond. We know that's too far. Outside of that, I mean, there's going to be bumping and banging, and there's going to be some door to door, bumper to bumper. Like, that's going to happen in NASCAR racing. And our cars, the bottom line is our cars are stronger than they've ever been for the most part. Outside of the really fragile parts, most of the parts are really, really tough. So you see, even on super speedways, the pushes and the bumps are tougher than ever because those type of bumps used to knock the nose in, right? Like, now they're tougher. We used to not be able to even lay a fender on somebody because you'd cut a tire down, or you'd knock your fender in and lose a ton of downforce. These cars aren't like that anymore. Even the Xfinity cars, we kind of seen this coming when they went to the composite body, that those cars can hit the wall and keep on going most of the time. When you put that body on the Cup car, it's just, you're going to see the same thing. And when you also make all the cars the same, right? Like, they're all close enough to where they run almost the same speed, and everyone knows that if you want to move through the field, it's going to have to be on restarts, and everyone gets more and more aggressive in those moments because they know that's the opportunity to move through the field if you're ever going to do it. So that's why I think we're all fighting for tire fall off, because it opens up the opportunity for cars to be different speeds and ultimately be able to race more and be able to pass more than just in the first 5 laps of a run, right? So you have a little bit more, separation throughout the field. So I think some of it's just what, the product of the environment you're in sometimes in the race car that we have. Yep.
Go to Mark Garrow.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Joey, a lot of guys talked about round 1 being made up of all wild card races. You look at round 2, after Kansas, you can make the argument. Talladega, Roval are wild card races. So how important is it to perhaps duplicate what you did in round 1, not having to roll into those races with any kind of pressure on you to make something big happen?
I mean, in each round, it's harder to move on to the next round, right? They're taking less cars. So in each round, a win means more than it did the previous round. The nice part about winning really in any round, but in the first round in particular, is you have 5 playoff points that continue with us into the next round, right? So those are nice, which you can argue means as much as the win sometimes when you're going through this next couple rounds here. So I mean, if you could win at Kansas, you're gonna feel fantastic. Somebody will, and we'll feel great. Hopefully it's us. But outside of that, you got to try to score points because there's, look at Watkins Glen last weekend and the day a lot of playoff drivers had. It's pretty wild out there. And we talked a minute ago about how close everybody is on speed. The cars that aren't in the playoffs are still really good and can win as well. So it's just it's a different ball game than what we had years ago with the old car.
Do you feel you're in better shape than it seems in other years? You were trying to gain ground before you got to the playoff, came in with more momentum. So do you feel you're in better playoff shape than you've been at times when you've actually come into a playoff and won the title?
Yeah, I think in both our titles, we haven't had the most playoff points or really a great regular season leading into it. And the playoffs have gone really well for us. Just there's multiple reasons that go into that. But there's been times that we've come into the playoffs with a ton of playoff points and we didn't make it to the championship for us. So it's just I guess it just kind of depends on, what the 10 weeks looks like and really what each 3-week little season looks like. That's really the most important part is you just got to be able to stay alive and stay in the game 3 weeks at a time.
Okay, we'll go next to John Newby and then to Kelly.
How about now? There we go.
John Newby, alt driver. So, Harrison Burton's going to AM Racing, and as someone who's worked with them, helped them get a couple top 10s, I was curious, what have you seen from that organization as they try to build, and will it be extra beneficial, I guess, having a Cup guy coming in full-time for them?
Yeah, I think it'd be good for the both of them. And it's good for Harrison. It's good for AM to have each other. There's so much potential in that race team, and they really just need consistency. It was the biggest thing that I kind of took out of the whole thing is this, when you're switching to a different driver every week, and some drivers, and it's not their fault, but some drivers have zero experience and some have a lot of experience, but the ones that have none can't guide the team into the right things, right? They don't know, if you haven't really raced an Xfinity car many times, you don't know what it's supposed to feel like. So you can't tell them what's wrong. And in return, the team can't get any better because they don't know what's wrong because the driver's not telling them. So they need some consistency. Harrison will definitely be great for that. He definitely, has a lot of experience winning Xfinity races and running in the Cup Series for a few years. It's amazing what just a year or two of Cup racing will do for you, right? When you go back to Xfinity after running Cup and you see the level of not only the drivers but the people that are into Cup level, it's night and day different. And when you're able to take some of that experience of I've seen the other side and bring that to a team like AM, it's huge value for them, huge value. So I think it's a great win for the both of them. I wish them the best of luck, right? I mean, now I got some relationships over there. You want to see them do good, right? And I think they will. I think there'll also be some learning curve and some bugs that have to get worked out first. But there's a lot of potential there that the car can run in the top 10 every time I've been in it. It can do that. It's just getting the little stuff worked out.
Come to Kelly next.
Kelly Crandall, racer.com. Joey, for tomorrow night, the topic again seems to be what are the tires going to do? It seems like nobody knows. Right. Is that stressful to you, or is it just another variable?
Not as stressful for me as it is for others, but luckily for us. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge variable. I mean, it might be the biggest one. We're not 100% sure, and we're going to see here in a few minutes, right? When practice starts and we get out there and we start running a few laps, and you say, okay, what was it? Was it the tire? Is it the track temperature? Is it the resin? Like what is it? Will it repeat? I think it will. My take is I think it will. I don't know if everyone's voting on what we think. We all should put a vote in to see who's right. But I think it will fall off hard again. But there's no way to be 100% certain that's what it's going to be until we get out there. But I think we'll know in practice what the race will look like this time. Last time in the spring, we saw that in practice, and everyone's like, yeah, but the track will rubber up, and it'll get better, and, wear will go down, and pace will slow down. And then it didn't. Like, it stayed the whole time. Now, the teams will be more aware of it. I'm sure a lot of teams probably made some changes to their cars from last time. That'll help that. I thought it was great last time. I mean, it's entertaining to watch, just watching the race back. I mean, there's so much going on, almost too much going on to where you can't actually keep up with it all. But it definitely threw quite the old slider on us that we weren't ready to see. So this time I wouldn't be more prepared.
When previewing the round of 16, the talk was that this was going to be a wild card, as Mark was talking about. This could be a crazy round. Is the expectation the same for the round of 12 with Talladega, or will things be a little calmer, you think, this next round?
I think it's the most wild cards we've ever had in playoffs ever, as far as racetracks, right? That we're just not certain of, right? I mean, Kansas, we talk about Kansas. That's there's a lot of crazy things that happen in Kansas, too. When you look at those restarts when you're 4 or 5 wide, you're going to tell me that's a calm situation? That's the most calm race that we have in the next round? Are you kidding me? And then you look at this round, Watkins Glen was really supposed to be the most predictable race of the 3. I mean, it's just, I don't think we've had a playoff schedule that's looked like this ever before. Absolutely, more of the same. Yeah, and it's just, like I said, it's a lot about survival, right? Like, survive and move on, and get to the round of 8, figure it out from there.
We'll go to Jeff Birchfield next.
Joey, since you are in your position you're at right now, does that give you a little flexibility to maybe just gamble and try to do something crazy just to win the race if you need to?
Yeah, I mean, that's the position we're in. That's what we're going for this weekend. We tried that last weekend in Watkins Glen. Was either stage win, race win. That's all that mattered. And we were in position to do that. That caution didn't come out on the coming to the end of the second stage. We were pretty certain that Ross and Shane were going to pit there, and we would have won that stage, and we would have been happy as can be with the playoff point leaving there. And that caution came out maybe 6 seconds too soon, and we lost all our track position for basically nothing at that point, and took our chance to win away. But that's just the cards that were played, right? And it just didn't. Sometimes they just don't fall in your favor, and that's kind of what happened last week. But this week's the same thing. You got to be able to, go out there and if we could win, great, right? It's a Bristol night race. Like, everybody wants to win this race. This is a big one. But if we can win a stage or something like that, and put ourselves off strategy to do that, or whatever it may be, we may look at that opportunity a little bit more so than if we were just racing for points.
All right, we're going to try to get 2 more questions here. We're going to go to Jordan and then to Zach.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. You've been upside down in a race car before.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, one, what is that like? And then 2, when you see someone else have an accident like that and they're tumbling, what is going through your mind as you're watching that?
I mean, what it's like, I mean, it's honestly the scariest part about being in a car, because it's the time where you literally have zero control of your car. There's other times where you may be wrecking, but you can at least steer it or do something, right? Like, it's kind of like if the throttle sticks. There's only so much you can do, right? And it's like the scariest thing because you're along for the ride. Well, once the tires leave the ground, there's no input that you can make to make a difference. Like, you're along for the ride. And I mean, that's not a comfortable feeling. It's kind of hard to put into words, right? Like, most people will never understand what that feels like, or can even imagine what that's like. And that's why it's hard to put it into words, right? Where this might hurt, or maybe worse, but there's nothing you can do about it. And so you're just strapped in and holding on. So when you watch somebody else go through a traumatic experience like that, I mean, the human side of you is obviously concerned for them. And you just want to know if they're okay or not as quickly as possible. Really, that's really what you want to know. And you hope that they are, and then you move on and you go racing again. Like, it's just what we have to do, right? I mean, that's the part that probably makes us a little bit crazy and different than most people, is that we watch that and know what it's like, and then you say, okay, let's go. let's go again. Like, it's just what racers do.
Zach Sterniel at NASCAR.com, Joey. Austin Cindric is second in points right now. He's had a great first round. Obviously, he maxed out just about stage points at Atlanta. What have you seen from him over these last couple of weeks and months leading up to this point where it seems like he and that 2 team are able to execute at this level?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's surprising. When you look at those, especially those first 2 racetracks, I mean, those are right in his wheelhouse. Super speedways, road courses, like that's Austin's wheelhouse. Not that he can't win anywhere else, right? We saw him win at Gateway, but I think if you look off of history and whether it's Xfinity or Cup, wherever it may be, like those type of racetracks are what fits him and that team. So I'm not surprised to see that many points scored from them. Yeah, well, hopefully we can keep all the Penske cars in when we leave here tomorrow night and be able to fight again next week and try to keep them all in all the way to the end.
Joey, thanks so much for coming in, and good luck here this weekend.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, there's the checkered flag. Great job, driver.